Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS College Basketball Thursday. I'm going to go through 4 games like I always do, and whatever I don't get to, we will go through on the live show tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. NBA live show at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're able to make it there, we'll go through a lot more games than this. But I'm going to run through 4. Let's go.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
First up, we're in the Big Ten, and we're starting with a game that I can't even bet because it's Rutgers and I'm in New Jersey. We got Rutgers on the road at Wisconsin here. Badgers laying 9.5 points at home, total sitting at 133.5. Betting trends on the Rutgers side: Scarlet Knights just 4-7 against the spread on the road this year, 8-10 against the spread in conference play, just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. Those are not nice looking trends there for Rutgers. But good news, the trends on the Wisconsin side are just as ugly. On the season, they're just 7-8-1 against the spread at home, 6-11-1 against the spread in conference play, 1-3-1 against the number in their last 5. Recent production from these two teams: Wisconsin just 3-7 in their last 10 games. That being said, 5 of those losses were on the road. They're 0-5 in their last 5 on the road. In their last 5 at home, they're actually 3-2. And if you look at the strength of schedule, it makes a little bit of sense, I guess. Wisconsin in the last 10 games, 49th in strength of schedule. Rutgers is 5-5 in their last 10, but strength of schedule back at 84th. So Rutgers has played a significantly easier schedule than Wisconsin has. Before we get into this one, we need to take note that these two teams already played back on February 10th. It was in Piscataway, so this one was at Rutgers. Rutgers got him. Rutgers beat the hell out of him, actually, 78-56. So a little bit of a revenge angle for Wisconsin here back at home, if you believe in that. So let's look at the matchup for Rutgers offense here. Got to give the slight edge to Wisconsin's defense on this side. I mean, not that Wisconsin's defense is any good, but Rutgers' offense is even worse. EFG, Rutgers 351st in the last 10 games. Wisconsin 276. Wisconsin's also got the rebounding edge too. Shot zones for Rutgers' offense. We can take a look at the mid-range shooting because Rutgers takes a lot of shots from there. In the last 10 games, they're 22nd in shot frequency from the short mid-range, 86 from the long mid-range. They're not really efficient shooting that shot, though. 283 and 333 in efficiency. So Rutgers hasn't really been hitting them. That being said, look at Wisconsin's defensive numbers against the 2 mid-range zones. 310th and 280th. So, I mean, Rutgers takes a lot of them. Maybe that's a positive angle for Rutgers. On the other side of the court, we got Wisconsin's offense, and I'd give the edge to Rutgers' defense here. Now, these are numbers from the last 10 games. Just keep in mind, Rutgers has played an easier schedule, but 39th in EFG for Rutgers defense compared to 233rd for Wisconsin's offense. Wisconsin does have the rebounding edge here, though, so Wisconsin should get some opportunities as far as second chance points. And check this out. Let's pull up some shot zones on this side. 2 shot zones that Wisconsin's offense frequents. The short mid-range shot, they're 48th in frequency there. Rutgers defense, 21st in efficiency against that shot. So Rutgers has done a great job defending that short mid-range shot. And the other zone Wisconsin frequents, the above the break 3, they're 106 in efficiency. Rutgers defensively there, 72nd. So Rutgers defense actually does a really good job defending the 2 zones that Wisconsin frequents. If you're wondering how Wisconsin is laying 9.5 points based on the numbers we just saw, a lot of it has to do with right here, home away splits. Look at Rutgers defense. EFG at home 9th, on the road 137. So Rutgers defense hasn't been nearly as good away from home. And then on the Wisconsin side, Wisconsin much better at home themselves. 53rd in EFG compared to 223rd on the road. Defense also takes a significant jump at home. So I do get it. I get why this line is at 9.5. And if you're taking Wisconsin, betting them to get their revenge against a Rutgers team that embarrassed them earlier in the season, I get it. Like I said, I can't personally bet this game, but if I could, I'd be taking the points with the Scarlet Knights, man. I just don't think Wisconsin's in a position to be laying this many points. So I'll say Rutgers plus 9.5 for the show, but like I said, I can't bet it. Next game. Pac-12 up next. We got Washington at Washington State. Cougars are laying 6.5 points at home in Pullman here. Total sent at 148.5. Betting trends on the Huskies side: Washington is 6-4 against the spread on the road this year, 10-9 against the spread in Pac-12 play, 2-3 against the spread in their last 5 overall. On the Washington State side, 9-7 against the spread at home this year, 11-8 against the spread in Pac-12 Pac-12 play, 3-2 against the spread in their last 5 overall. Recent production from these two teams, obviously the edge goes to Washington State. I mean, Cougars are 9-1 in their last 10 games, a perfect 5-0 at home in that span. Washington just 5-5 in their last 10, 2-2 on the road in that span, and strength of schedule is basically even. Washington State 123rd in the last 10, Washington 125th. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with Washington's offense, and I'd give the edge to the Huskies on this side. I think Washington's going to score points in this one. Look at EFG in the last 10 games, 48th to 144th. Nice little edge for Washington there. I will say we have to acknowledge that Washington State has the huge advantage in the rebounding department, though. I mean, 310 to 86. And look at the matchup at the basket here. Washington has been very efficient scoring down low. In the last 10 games, they're 29th in efficiency at the rim, just 146th in frequency. So they haven't been attacking the rim a ton, but when they have, they've been very efficient scoring down there. Look at Washington State's defensive numbers at the basket, 255th and 228th. So Washington should be able to get buckets down here. On the other side of the court, we got the Washington State offense, and you got to give the edge to the Cougars here. I mean, mostly because of the rebounding and the turnovers, though. The EFG numbers are pretty close, 165, 157. That's a wash, but rebounding edge goes to Washington State. The Cougars should definitely get second chance opportunities here. Turnover edge also heavily in favor of Washington State. Not much here as far as shot zones for Washington State's offense. You can point at the long mid-range shot because Washington State does have a huge edge there. In the last 10 games, Washington State 60th in frequency, 65th in efficiency. So they've been very good shooting the long mid-range shot, and Washington's got terrible defensive numbers there. The reason I don't think that's such a huge deal is that shot only accounts for 16.8% of Washington State's shot attempts. So it's just not that important of a shot. I mean, Washington State should cash from there, but 16% of their shot attempts is just not a big enough piece of the pie. Home away splits for Washington. You could see Huskies offense takes a huge dip on the road. 23rd in EFG at home, 207th on the road. That being said, the defense actually gets a jump here. 212th at home, 107th on the road. But as a whole, Washington been better at home this year. And on the other side, we got Washington State. I mean, look at these numbers. Washington State's clearly been better at home in Pullman this year. EFG goes from 226 to 42. So the fact that this game's in Pullman, huge for Washington State. That being said, I don't want to be on Washington State here. I think Washington's live in this rivalry game. If you've been watching the live show, you know that I'm a little bit partial against Washington State. I took them against Arizona, so I got my cash there. But since then, I've been fading this team. I think they're overvalued since that game. So I think the Huskies are live. Give me Washington plus the points. I might even sprinkle the money line here next game. Sticking with the Pac-12, we got Colorado on the road in Oregon here. Ducks are laying 1 point at home. The total sitting on 149.5. Betting trends on the Colorado side, just 2-7 against the spread on the road this year. Wow. 6-12 against the spread in conference play. 2-3 against the spread in their last 5. On the Oregon side, 7-7 against the spread at home this year. 7-11 against the spread in conference play. 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. Recent production from these two teams slightly points towards Colorado here. Buffs are 6-4 in their last 10 games. 2-3 on the road in that span. Oregon 5-5 in their last 10. 2-2 at home in that span. Strength of schedule pretty even, slight edge towards Colorado, 109th to 117th. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with Colorado's offense, and I'd give the edge to the Buffs on this side. They've definitely struggled with turnovers, but Oregon's defense hasn't created many turnovers. It's 283 to 218, so it's really not much of a mismatch there. Colorado definitely has the edge as far as shot making and rebounding. Shot zones on this side. I like the matchup for Colorado on the interior, at the basket, and in the paint. You can see Colorado takes a lot of shots down there, 103rd and 67th in frequency from those two zones. Oregon, not the best defensive numbers down here. 338th against that short mid-range shot, 197th at the rim. So overall, I do think it's a favorable matchup for Colorado's offense. On the other side, we got the Oregon offense, and I mean, kind of a wash on this side. You can see these numbers really tough to give the edge either way. I mean, I guess I give a slight edge to Colorado, but they're not going to create any turnovers here. 331st to 132nd. So based on these numbers, is pretty much a wash. But the Ducks definitely have a favorable matchup down at the basket in this one, just like Colorado does. 134th and 169th for Oregon's offense in the last 10 games at the rim. So they've been a pretty solid team as far as scoring at the rim. Colorado defensively, 315th in efficiency at the basket. So Colorado should get plenty of buckets down low. but you can kind of say the same thing for Oregon. The fact that this game is in Eugene is not ideal for Colorado. You can see they have some pretty significant home away splits here. EFG drops from 14 to 77. Defensive EFG drops from 101 to 279. So Colorado has not been as good on the road. That being said, when you look at Oregon's home away splits, they actually have better offensive numbers on the road this year. Defense has been better at home, but as a whole, Oregon's ranks not much better at home. This is pretty much even, not the craziest home away splits here, which is why I think Colorado's the move here. In my opinion, the wrong team is favored. I know Colorado hasn't been the greatest road team in the world, but like I said, Oregon hasn't been the best home team in the world. Top to bottom, Colorado's the better team, and we're basically getting this at a pick 'em. I mean, Colorado +1. So yeah, I think Buffs would be the move here. Give me Colorado +1 or the money line, depending on where it's at when you're watching this next game. Arizona on the road at UCLA. Bruins catching 9 points at home, total sitting at 147. Betting trends on the Wildcats side. Arizona 6-3 against the spread on the road this year, 10-8 against the spread in conference play, 3-2 against the spread in their last 5 overall. On the UCLA side, just 4-10 against the spread at home this year. That's terrible. 9-8-1 against the spread in conference play, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. Not the best looking trends there for UCLA. Recent production from these two teams points towards Arizona, and it's not even close. Arizona 9-1 in their last 10 games with the 61st strongest schedule in the country, a perfect 4-0 on the road in that span. UCLA just 6-4 in their last 10, and they've played a significantly easier schedule than Arizona, back at 142nd in strength of schedule in the last 10, just 3-2 at home in that span. So let's match these two teams up on the court, and we'll start with Arizona's offense, and edge goes to Arizona on this side, and it's really not even close. You can see pretty solid edge in every single major category. Most important one being efficient field goal percentage, 16th to 263rd. To make matters even worse for this UCLA defense, one of their weakest zones defensively is protecting the basket. That's terrible news when you're playing Arizona, because this team loves to attack the rim. In the last 10 games, they're 19th in shot frequency at the basket, 96th in efficiency, so they're good as hell at it too. Arizona should pretty much get whatever they want at the basket here. On the other side of the court, we got the UCLA offense, and shocker, edge goes to Arizona on this side as well. It's not quite as bad as of a mismatch on this side as it is on the other side, but still significant advantage Arizona here. EFG 52nd to 311th. Good lord. I will say the rebounding and turnover numbers are close here. Actually, UCLA has the big edge in turnovers. UCLA's done a good job protecting the basketball, but as a whole, Arizona has the edge here. Not much for UCLA on this side in terms of shot zones. I mean, we can point to the short mid-range shot. UCLA does attempt a lot of shots from there. They're 36th in frequency in the last 10 games. Arizona defensively 115th in that zone. I mean, you could tell the fact that I put this graphic up means it was slim pickings as far as the shot zones on this side of the court. Home away splits, and this may be UCLA's only hope in this game. The fact that Arizona is not as good away from home. You can see at home, Arizona, one of the best teams in the country. On the road, the EFG drops from 15th to 62nd. Defensive EFG, significant drop here, 71st to 201st. They're elite rebounding home and away though. But Arizona hasn't been quite as good on the road. That being said, look at UCLA's home away splits. I mean, they're not even better at home. In fact, they've been better on the road. Well, it's pretty much a wash. They've been pretty ass both home and on the road, so not much of a home court advantage here in terms of rankings, which is why I got to go Arizona. I know if you're watching the live show, I was talking some shit about Arizona. There will be a time to fade Arizona, maybe in the Pac-12 tournament. There will be a time we can hop on a nice fade Arizona, but it's not here. Arizona should beat the hell out of UCLA, so I'll lay the 9. Give me Arizona -9. Like I said earlier, live shows, 3 p.m. Eastern time, we'll go through college basketball. We'll go through 11 or 12 games. I'll bring on some guests, just like we do every day. And then NBA shows at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Our guest tomorrow is Ronald, UCapper. So we're getting Ron back. So that'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments for both of them. If you want my top bets, parlays of the day, or you'd like to join the Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Thursday night basketball. Remember to bet responsibly. Let's have ourselves a good one, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.